Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon. In this episode, I just got back from Greenland, and Palle Bo and I sit and talk about this fascinating island. It is, in fact, the biggest island in the world, and it is covered in glaciers. But there are parts of it that are not covered in glaciers. I'm talking with Palle Bo about Greenland, and he is a Dane, and Denmark actually controls Greenland. So it's a fascinating discussion talking about this place that very few people have the good fortune of visiting. I have lots of photos of it on my Instagram. Just go to ftapon on Instagram and find me there, as well as go to patreon.com/ftapon to become a patron and get rewards like my book, which I'm currently writing. You should get the chapter on Zambia by now. All right, and now Palle Bo and all about Greenland.
But before we move on to the next topic, you also went to Greenland. I want to hear about that because
so I've been there. You've been there.
I've been there twice.
You guys own the place.
Well, I with the Greenlandic would argue about that, but it's part of the Danish kingdom, sure.
Do you think they'll ever get independence? Like true independence, like become a United Nations, like 194?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
And
because they
too
benefit.
Expensive, yeah.
They benefit too much from.
For the same reason, Scotland doesn't. They can't do without the money, and if they all of a sudden they really find a lot of oil or diamonds or and they would be able to. It's a massive place, and they.
Greenland.
Yeah. So.
Well, or what if the Danes stop juicing them? In other words, giving that all those subsidies. Like if Danish decides, you know what? Why are we sending all this money over to that stupid island?
Yeah. Anybody want to buy that island?
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, it's a great investment. It's kind of like Alaska back in.
It's just a big real estate deal.
It is, and Alaska. That's how we got Alaska.
I am joking, of course.
I'm not. I'm like, Alaska, we bought it big, and nobody, it was called Stewart's Folly because they thought it was like the stupidest decision because it's just a block of ice. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it turned out to be a really brilliant move. And right now Greenland's a block of ice.
Did you know the thing about Alaska, that it could have been Liechtenstein?
No, what's that story?
The Russian Tsar, when he was good friends with the Prince of Liechtenstein, who had the money, and at some point over cognac probably and cigars, the Russian Tsar said, "Oh, we're spending a lot of money on that war we're in right now. You want to buy Alaska, this piece of land close to Russia?" And the guy said, "No, not really." And then they sold it to the U.S. So it could have been Liechtenstein. The world would have looked a whole lot different if it had
from
been...
the smallest country in the world to one of the biggest.
Yeah. When I went to Greenland, it was only in Nuuk, and then I was in Sisimiut as well. Nuuk is the capital and the biggest city with 15 to 20,000 people, which is not a big city, but it's got that capital feel, and it's right. There I can totally get by speaking Danish as well. They speak a lot of Danish in Nuuk, whereas when we get further north to Sisimiut, where I know that you've been also, the second biggest city with, as far as I remember, around 4,000 people and 5,000 sleigh dogs, which is quite interesting. That's more Greenlandic and completely away from anything I can understand.
Yeah, and I don't speak any Danish, so
Greenlandic and whatever Danish.
Exactly. And I was amazed by the long words that they have.
Oh my God! Yeah,
head scratchers.
At some point when I was a graphic designer, we did a brochure in Danish and Greenlandic, and we had to put extra pages in the Greenlandic one because the words are so long.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
And the words are hard to pronounce, not just long. It's like Umanak. So I went to Umanak, and that was amazing. I was on a boat that is really nice luxury.
Yeah. So where did you go?
It was Quark Expeditions is the company.
Okay.
That they really run a fabulous operation. And then every day they have little outings, either on the Zodiacs, which are these little pontoon boats.
So it was a cruise?
Yeah, it's a cruise. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so then we're hitting different ports along the way. You don't see a tremendous amount of wildlife, but we didn't see any polar bears, for example. But has a lot of birds. We did see a sperm whale, which one guide said he hadn't seen for 15 years. The weather was spectacular. Like for 10 days, didn't see a drop of rain.
Blue sky.
Yeah, it was, and then as soon as we left, it was like 5 days of rain.
Yeah.
It's the world's biggest island. It's just a tease. It's like going to Russia. It's just like you go there and you're like, okay, no matter how much time you spend in Russia, it's like you're just seeing nothing.
Yeah.
Even if you take the Trans-Siberian, it doesn't matter. You haven't seen anything, really.
No.
You go to Alaska. These territories are so vast.
Yeah.
And Greenland is so inaccessible and so hard to see. And just most of it is buried under ice. I want to walk across Greenland. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the time to do it this time around. And not to mention the equipment and probably not even the strength and the logistics. But it's something I would love to do. It probably takes a couple of weeks, maybe a month. I don't know.
See, that's obviously something you would do. That's not for me. That's not for me.
I would love to do that. That would be great.
I did do a snow scooter into the mountains when I was in Sisimiut. It was too late in the season. This was in late March. I was there, so it was too late in the season for the sleigh dogs. I wanted to do that, but we did go on a snow scooter into the mountains, and that was spectacular and so beautiful and amazing.
No, but I was definitely intrigued. You know, we talked a little bit about Mauritania earlier. Mauritania, what intrigues me is I love desert cultures because I like the desert and I like inhospitable landscapes. And that's what I realized when I was in Greenland. I'm attracted to the Arctic, is that it's an inhospitable landscape as well.
No.
Very loosely populated, you know, that's why I love Namibia. You mentioned your favorite country is South Africa or Cape Town. For me, it's in Africa. Everybody asks me, which is your favorite African country? I say Namibia.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that. And once I finally get to Namibia, I haven't been there.
Loser.
But I want to spend a significant amount of time in Namibia because people say so many great things about it. And it's so big as well. And,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to go there just for a few days, and I said, no, I don't want it to be one of those countries that I just rush in and out of because I want to spend a significant amount of time there.
Wise words. And this brings up travel styles.
Yeah.
And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to WanderLearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember Tapon. That's my first initial and my last name. Tapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at WanderLearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.